All right, we are ringing in the new 2026 year with a brand new champion, and it all came down to one of the very last plays of Week 17. And boy, we are excited to talk about it. Well, most of us anyway. Hello and Happy New Year to our MHA owners. It's Friday, January 2nd. I'm Eric Lansing along with Mikey Renault and Todd Diamond. Happy New Year, fellas. How we doing this Friday evening? Mikey, we'll go with you first because you probably a little better than someone else.
Oh yeah, I won the consolation championship. I'm better than everybody.
Oh, no.
Consolation supremacy. I like it, Mikey. I like using
you
that
gotta hang
word.
your hat on something.
It was consolation domination, Todd. That's what that was.
But I like the other word though. I like consolation supremacy. I like that. Makes it sound smarter.
Anyways, Todd, how are you feeling?
Well, it's all about the U. My Hurricanes beat Ohio State, and they're moving on to the next round. That's how I'm feeling. So we're ready to talk about Miami. That's what I'm ready to talk about, right? It's all about the U.
That's a different podcast. We don't talk about boring college football on this podcast.
Hey, first of all, it's not boring because Miami.
I don't know, Mikey. That was a pretty boring game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty boring.
No, it was not boring.
I mean, you were up and running around like a psychopath, but we'll also talk about that on the podcast because that's what you were on Monday as well.
Yeah.
Also joining us on the podcast is, of course, our 2025 champion, and that's a gentleman that was pretty much the best team from start to finish this season, and that was the owner of the Line Rip Squad, and Aaron Renault. Happy New Year, champ! Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm making room on my desk for a new trophy. Oh, there's already too many. There's like 4. So I gotta make a little more space for it. Oh, there we go. There's enough space. That was tough.
I should have destroyed your office, Aaron. I should have just destroyed it. I'm like, no, you didn't get no trophies. No trophies. That would have been funny.
Just be glad you got to look upon it, Todd.
Yep. Sure did. And he's going to join us and help us talk about everything that's going on. You having a happy New Year there, Aaron Renault?
I'm having a great New Year, aside from this cold I caught from my daughter touching the subway post and then quickly touching my face.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of New York City subway germs in my face right now. But aside from that, I'm having a great New Year so far.
Is there a vaccine for that? That's a lot of grossness in one sentence.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you just swallow a bunch of Purell and hope that it comes out, everything comes out okay.
Well, if we have that figured out by the next draft, or we're not going to invite you. So I'll tell you that now. Hazmat suit and all. Jeez Louise, that's disgusting.
Well, I'll bring it with my picture of Puka Catch.
Oh, there you go. I think he's going to have that blown up for the next draft. We'll talk about that. Should we get into this recap? You guys ready to talk about this back and forth?
Let's do it.
Yep, let's do it.
All right. Well, into this championship recap, which pitted number 1 seeded Lion Rip versus number 3 seeded Butterfingers. Both these two teams led the MHA in scoring this season. For Lion Rip, he had lost 3 games all season, one of those to Kilgore Trout in the season finale, and 2, not 1, but 2 to the Butterfingers, and both were blowouts, 158 to 133 in week 3 and 193 to 163 in week 7. So a little fun drama heading into this one. First question with both of you owners. Any moves you guys had to think about before the week began? Aaron, we obviously knew about Patty Mahomes a couple of weeks ago. Trevor Lawrence did great for you last week. Obviously, he might have been an easy choice. Was Trevor a tough decision, or was there any other decisions you had to make?
No, I mean, I think Mikey had mentioned to it. I had talked to him about that I had picked up Trevor Lawrence prior to Mahomes getting hurt because I had anticipated that if I had to play him, if I actually was lucky enough to get to the championship, that Mahomes' Chiefs would probably be out at that point, and they looked like losers anyways against the Texans. So I was like, Mahomes is not going to be the guy to run with if I am lucky enough to get to the championship. So I had Lawrence and the matchup with Indy queued up for this week, no matter what happened. So I was 100% going forward with him on this one.
What about Kelsey? I know he's been solid tight end for you, especially in comparison to how the tight end world exists here in fantasy world in 2020s, whatever you want to call it. But you didn't want to run with Kelsey without Patty Mahomes, and so you took a wild card on a guy. And was that a tough decision? Were you out there scouring forever for a tight end?
That was, I think that and the Jameson Williams
Sure.
decision, both of those were very difficult. And I think even up to game time, I was not 100% sure on each of them. I'll give you a little backstory to understand why I went with that decision. Um, During the draft on my draft card, when I was sort of writing down the players I was going to draft, I put a little note at the top, and it said, "Do not be a bitch," is what it said at the note at the very top, and that was my mantra going to the draft: to always take the guy with upside, always take the chance on the player. And so going into the championship, I was like, you know what? I wrote that down at the beginning of the year. I'm sticking with it to the end. I am going for the most upside. I'm going to go with the guy to take the chance because I felt like Todd's team and the matchups were better than mine were, and I needed as many points as possible. And so I was like, Jameson Williams might give me a bump, even though all the research I did told me the opposite in terms of going against Minnesota. And then Taysom Hill, same thing. I felt kind of pressure. I was like, you know what? There are going to be a lot of goal line packages. He had a good year the year before. I wasn't sure that maybe that come up again. But I was like, you know, he can get me 2 touchdowns if he's in the right goal line packages. That didn't happen, and I was maybe up to the minute that game start, just sitting at a Starbucks, like scrolling furiously, like not 100% on that. I was almost putting Hunter Henry, and that was one of the things as the day proceeded. I was like, I fed up, and because I was so close to putting in Hunter Henry right before those games started, and I was like, you know what, Eric? Aaron, don't be a bitch. Go with the upside. But luckily, I got lucky and it didn't come to bite me in the end.
Don't be a bitch on the south side of Starbucks. That's what I got from that. Okay.
There you go.
Todd, any tough decisions for you before everything got started? Or we knew you lost Judkins the week before. Did you knew all along Terry McLaurin was going to be the guy?
Yeah, I mean, I went and looked on the, on the waiver wire, and obviously McLaurin, kind of ups and downs with his injury, and obviously Jaden Daniels being hurt, that affected him a little bit as well. Obviously affected him a lot as well, but no, I mean, I was gonna go with Terry McLaurin in my flex position no matter what. I mean, because obviously at the beginning of the season I was very high on him. Obviously, even drafted him in the third round and everything like that. So yeah, I was gonna go with Terry McLaurin in there, and then tight end roulette. It's always fun, and I mean, obviously we'll talk about that a little bit into the um more into the podcast. But yeah, I mean, I had Jake Ferguson, and you know going throughout the season. I mean, he was consistent enough, but the previous week, just only 3 point, only almost 4 points. I'm like, ugh, I need, I need a little bit more consistency, or I need a tight end that's going to give me a little bit more than 4 points, because this is the championship game, and so forth. And that's why I picked up Kyle Pitts, and even picked up that Cody Parkinson. And obviously we'll maybe talk about Kyle Pitts, and how maybe again, maybe I should have just stick with Ferguson.
Heavy
But again,
sigh. Yeah.
but again, it's fantasy football. I was like, I needed to, I think I was thinking about it, is if I still had Judkins in my flex, I think I would have kept Ferguson as my tight end. But knowing I didn't have Judkins and everything, and I had McLaurin, I didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, obviously the Commanders were down to their third string quarterback, so but I still still went with McLaurin, and no matter what. But yeah, so that was really that was only the really only decisions between McLaurin and the Ferguson or Pitts moves and everything like that. That's kind of what it was, because I knew my big three in Stafford, Puka, and McCaffrey, and we've seen all season long. I mean,
All
that's
right, back to cat herding duties here.
sorry.
We'll get to all of your guys, Todd. I just asked for any question. Okay, Christmas Day, the first day of championship weekend. The Butterfingers ran with Terry McLaurin, as he mentioned, in that flex spot after losing Quinshad Judkins to an injury last week. And the Commanders' wide receiver was fine, 8 points. But how about RJ Harvey? Incredible, once again reaching double figures for the 5th straight week. 16 points for the Broncos running back. For Lion Rip, they ran the off and on Jameson Williams, as he mentioned. against those Dolphins and only mustered up 3 points on 2 catches. But we had to
Minnesota.
yeah, we head to Sunday where Aaron's starting quarterback Trevor Lawrence had a good day against the Colts and did so to the tune of 23 completions, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 46 points. In that same game, Lion Rip MVP candidate Jonathan Taylor rushed for 70 yards and a score for 16 points. But as we mentioned, the tight ends, Taysom Hill, one of the most polarizing players maybe in MHA lore. He was started by Aaron, and he came up with a big fat goose
Wow.
egg, carrying that ball 3 times for 0 yards. He was coming off that big 16-point week in week 16, but didn't work out that day. But perhaps one of the big pickups of the year in the MHA this season. Of course, we talk about Michael Wilson. He caught 5 passes for 89 yards and a touchdown, 15 points. Aaron's Patriots defense almost matched Todd's Seahawks defense. It was 10 and 12 points respectively. For Todd on Sunday, the trade for Jamar Chase was huge in this one as the Bengals wide receiver caught 2 touchdown passes on his way to 22 points. And in the nightcap, Christian McCaffrey doing Christian McCaffrey things, rushing for 140 yards and a score, 26 points. All right, gentlemen, so we're done with Sunday. We head into the Monday night game, which featured the Rams and Falcons. Lion Rip held a 102 to 95 point lead with Bijan Robinson, Kyron Williams left to play. For the Butterfingers, still had his MVP candidates and Matt Stafford and Puka Nacua, along with Kyle Pitts. I'll start with Todd this time. How did you feel heading into that Monday night game? Todd, did you feel like you, despite being behind in the count, did you feel confident you can make a run at this? What were some of your thoughts?
Oh yes, I mean you couldn't ask for anything better going into a Monday night game for the championship game and having like literally like you said my two MVP candidates um you know ready to go and the way they've been playing all season long and obviously with Puka, no Devontae Adams, I'm like, oh, this is like, let's go, Puka, 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 Puka. Like this is this is all wide open for him to have a big performance. But yes, I felt, to some degree, I was maybe hoping maybe at least get to like to 100 points before going into Monday night, but still feeling confident going into the Monday night game with Stafford and Puka because I know they could they can put up big numbers and you know I thought I was like, okay, not saying I didn't have it. I wasn't saying like, oh, I have this in the bag guaranteed. No, you still don't want to think that way because obviously a lot of things can happen. But yes, I felt confident going into Monday night with my my two best, two of the 3 of my best players, going into Monday night. So yeah, I felt confident.
What about you, Aaron? You see Stafford, you see Puka, and you've seen what they've done to other teams this season, the amount of points they put up. How did you feel on the road in New York, seeing those two with Monday night still remaining?
I mean, I was on the opposite side of confidence, to be honest. Like I said, I was in that Starbucks, at game time. The game started a little bit early there. I think it was like 1 o'clock. Playing Uno with my daughter Margot, my wife Anna, just kind of sneaking off peeks of my phone because I didn't really watch any of the games. I'm just like looking at like really cursing the Taysom Hill situation. I was like, man, Aaron, you f***ed up. And but across the board, aside from that, really sort of getting the points I wanted. Aside from Taylor, which I'd hoped I'd get more, and I think at the end of Sunday, I kind of looked at the board and I was like, all right, well, I was just hoping I could come out at the end of Sunday and at least be up by like 10 to 20. I think I was only up 10. And Hannah was like, how'd it go? And she could see on my face. I'm like, yeah, it's not good. I was like, Todd's going to win. It's kind of what I told her. She's like, and we were headed out to the city on Monday morning, going to take the train. And she's like, you want to watch the game? It's like, no, I don't want to watch that game. Like, it's just gonna tease me and make me think that I could win. It's just gonna slip away. I was like, I went to bed on Sunday night just be like, Todd won. Todd's a champion. Fine. I talked all kinds of shit about how much I hate Todd and his team because he beat me twice, and I'm just gonna have to eat crow, and just swallow it and just suck it up on the podcast or whatever. Or next time I see him, I went to bed knowing that I was gonna be the loser. And so Monday, we were in New York City, went to the museum, just looked at paintings at MoMA and said, fantasy football. This is I don't care. We had dinner at like um, at a Greek restaurant down there, and she's like, "You want to watch the game?" I was like, "No." It's like, "Let me check the score though," and I saw that Bijan had scored a touchdown like early in the first quarter. I was like, "Okay, I've got like maybe a 20-point lead." All right, like at least they're teasing me enough to kind of get my interest. And then so we went back up to the hotel and turned the game on, and it was uh, it was interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
I don't know. I told Anna, she's like, "Can you win?" I was like, "Yeah, I would need a miracle. I would need like Stafford to get hurt. I would need everything that could possibly go right in my favor." And if anybody watched that game, I got the miracle essentially I needed to kind of pull that victory off. It was hilarious. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, let's get into that. We talked about Kyle Pitts. He scored a meager 2.80 points despite reaching 10 or more in his last 4 games. But Bijan Robinson, boy, he had a game for the ages. Talk about miracles. He first scored on a 4-yard touchdown catch to help extend Aaron's lead, as we mentioned, going into this game. Then Bijan broke off a 93-yard
Oh my God.
touchdown run that helped even more. I mean, for what he's been able to do all year, he came through in a big way. And this is still in the first half. Staffa Nakua was pretty quiet for about 3/4 of this matchup. In fact, Rams didn't score a single offensive point in the any points in that first half. The Rams offense started to pick things up a little bit in the third. Stafford found Terrence Ferguson on a 27-yard touchdown pass, and I believe that cut into Aaron's deficit to single digits. Then we head into the fourth, and the Rams were driving. Stafford found Kyron Williams a couple of times on a couple of passes, which obviously helps Aaron out. And we hadn't mentioned Kyron Williams yet up to this point. He'd been pretty quiet, but he caught some passes, ran for some yards, picked up a couple points here and there. He ran for about 30 yards. So he caught a couple passes, ran for 30 yards. And then Todd's quarterback finally found Puka for a touchdown. And Todd was within 4 points, I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mikey, in any of this. But I know Todd was throwing it in our face a little bit.
Yeah, I'll correct you on that. So the touchdown actually brought Todd to within 0.8.
0.8. Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. Incredibly close, but hadn't overtaken him quite yet. Then the Falcons had a drive. Bijan picked up a point. Pitts, he caught a pass. And Atlanta kicked a field goal with 25 seconds left. So what did that put him at? A little over little less than 3 points, somewhere around there, 3.80.
3.76 to be exact.
All right, well, there you go. So the Rams, they get the ball back with 25 seconds left. No return either, which I think was helpful. But it was 3rd and 10. Stafford finds Puka Nacua near the sideline on an incredible one-handed catch that was for 40 yards, giving Todd, was it 0.20? Is that right? Something of that nature. Todd screamed. Ran into the kitchen because obviously he was pacing all around. We were in Aaron's living room because Aaron's in New York. Yeah. I'm over there watching. They come over to my place. He's pacing around. He was pretty quiet in the second quarter or maybe the third quarter. And then it got crazy third quarter. And then the fourth quarter, obviously Puka gets the touchdown from Stafford. He's feeling good, but he's up and pacing. Anyway, he runs into the kitchen because he was super excited about what just took place. And apparently, and Mikey can tell us more, is that it changed on Todd's phone and gave him the lead. Is that correct?
That's correct. So, yeah, what was so weird is that the call was originally incomplete.
Right.
But for some reason, Yahoo, showed it as a catch, and Todd was actually ahead by 0.8. So then all of a sudden, Todd gets up. And you're just seeing him running around the living room and in the kitchen. Yes.
Dude, I'll try to recreate it for you, Aaron, when I see you. But yeah, it was. But continue.
Yeah, he's just like, yes, I won. Oh, yes. And then me and Eric are sitting in the living room. Todd is still in the kitchen at this point. And so they end up, it takes them a while to get to that last camera angle where you.
It was a second replay,
yep.
Separate. And then all of a sudden, you hear Joe Buck said, it looks like it's not a catch. And then I just say, oh no. And then Todd says, and then you just hear a pin drop, and Todd said, "No, no."
But
And
I
so,
was, but when they were, but Aaron, when they were reviewing it, I was at the TV, and I was like, "Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell
yeah,
me, tell me, tell
yeah,
me."
I felt like he was Jack Bauer, like like getting into someone's face.
yeah. He was about an
Tell
inch from
me.
that. He was about an inch from that screen, just screaming at this TV.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
So you
Tell
probably
me
got
I
sick
can
from Todd.
catch.
Todd spit all over your
Oh yeah.
TV. That's what got you sick.
And it landed in New York. Yeah.
All his
Absolutely.
fault.
Oh
Well,
man, I can't believe I missed that. Yeah, he thought he won the whole time, and he was going nuts,
oh yeah.
just taken right out of his hands. Yeah. Oh my god, it's fucking hilarious.
So it was called off.
The NFL does not know. Okay, I'm gonna say you're gonna have to put some bleeps in here,
Right.
Eric. But the NFL doesn't know what
I thought that
a
wasn't a
catch.
catch.
It
It was
wasn't a
loose.
catch.
It was a catch. It was a catch. I do not like. It was
You
a
know how many bleeps
catch.
I'm gonna have to put in the show? Thanks, fella.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, we'll let you
Okay.
come back to it. It was called incomplete. Todd, you could just see him sulk into his chest. It was fourth down. However, they had a
Okay.
chance. Stafford goes back, throws it to Puka again, but it's incomplete, not even close this time. And Lion Rip captures their fifth MHA title, defeating the Butterfingers 154 to 150. And just so we can put it in the record books, Gonzo Cats defeated the Lemonheads 104 to 91 to secure third place, myself in fourth place. So continue. So Aaron sent us all a great picture with they interview Bijan Robinson after the game.
And I made out with the TV. Yeah.
He takes a selfie with him and then another selfie with him kissing him for the big win. It was hysterical. It was great. And Todd couldn't say much after that, but congratulations.
I do want to point out one thing. I want to roll it back to before halftime, because Ann and I were watching it and we were just in disbelief on how this game was going. Like, Stafford looked fucking terrible. He was just throwing interceptions, and I was like, how am I still in this game?
Yeah.
And I think he threw another interception, and right before Bijan ran off that big 93-yard run, whatever it was, and I was like sitting on the bed, and I was like, they're just teasing me. This thing's gonna slip away at the last second.
Well,
and but right before that, I said, it's like, why can't Bijan just run 100 yards for a touchdown? And sure enough, he breaks off, and like, I don't know if you remember from Seinfeld where Kramer's like riding that horse and like kind of like hitting it on its ass. Yeah. That's what when he broke through and I saw him miss the second guy, I was like, go, yes, and Anna was just rolling. She's like, I can't wait to tell everybody else how stupid you look right now. And when he did that, and I think it put me up by 20 or whatever it was, and I was like, that's when I thought, I was like, oh shit, I actually have a chance of winning this. And then I was like, don't leave me alone. We're actually watching this game now. Like, I actually believed, yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
So I was going to say two underrated, parts of that game were, number one was the blocked field goal that they ran back for a touchdown, because
right,
the fact that they ran that back took away a whole drive from the Rams. And then the other part was in the last, sequence of that game when the Falcons were going down to kick a field goal, there was like 2 minutes left. Like, the Rams weren't using their timeouts, which didn't make any sense. Like, they just let the clock run, which got it down to like 30 seconds when they got the ball back. It made sense why they didn't.
I was obsessed with the clock ticking down. I was just watching. I was like, come on, just get me out of this thing.
I just didn't understand it. And so, it made no sense. Yeah.
Someone had money on Aaron and not Todd. That's what all that means.
I know. I mean, even with the field goal, that was a 51-yard field goal. I was like, he has to make this. If he doesn't make it, I lose. There's all these like things that had to happen exactly just so for me to win that game, and they all lined up and they all happened. It's unbelievable. I can't, like I said, 100%. If I had to bet whatever amount of money thrown on the table that I would win that game going into Monday, I would say nope. Todd 100% was going to win that game, and the fact that I got away with it is just unbelievable. But yeah, it was beautiful.
I mean, I'll say this. I mean, it was, because we'll talk about it like in the, where we went right and where we went wrong, what was the best picks and all that stuff. McCaffrey and Bijan, and you said it, Aaron, you said like, I can't believe, I was able to give Jean, drop this far, but obviously, I stick to my guns when it comes to players I want to draft. And obviously McCaffrey, you know, um, obviously McCaffrey wasn't obviously not a bad pick. Obviously his thing is always, the injury thing, but obviously he showed up and, best, led our league in for running backs. But, it's, I mean, could have gone either way, but at the end of the day too is yes, in the regular season, yes, I got 2 wins. Great. It's awesome. But when it comes to playoffs, it doesn't matter how good, what your players did in the regular season. Your players just have to be good, that day. And, or in my case, Stafford decided to have one of his worst games and throw 3 picks. And that's, that's sometimes in the, in fantasy football in general, it's just like, well, yeah, I had a bad game. Like, I mean, if you base it off of, all through the regular season, yeah, like, how could he not have a bad game? He was like on point. I mean, he might win MVP, still, in the NFL. But, at the end of the day, Stafford decided to have one of his worst games. And
at the end of the day, Todd, I have 2 memes I can now send to you at any point. 1, Nick Foles, and 2, Bijan.
Oh.
And so I could just make your life miserable forever and ever. So,
well,
Bijan ended up with 38 points. 38 points.
As much as Matt Stafford.
There you go. 38.76, 38.20.
Yeah, for Stafford who put up like 50 points, plus every this season for me, puts up 38. But yeah, and again, it's what it is. I mean, put it this way. The Nick Foles one that one now won't hurt as much. And this one will hurt. This one will hurt, I think, for until I can next year try to get back to the championship game and try to win it, and that'll erase it. But yes,
well, Todd, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Well, Aaron, like I said, when I like you, Eric, and Mikey, I'm gonna say when I'm facing you guys, I'm facing the best of the best, plain and simple, every time, no matter what. But that was a freaking catch. Those like the NFL does not know what a catch is. Like,
oh my god!
Because I think I asked you, Mikey. I said, Mikey, if this was like 2000s, 90s, or 80s or 70s, would that be a catch? And you said yes. Well, I think you said 70s, that'd be a catch. But
let it go, let it go.
I don't let it go. But I'm just saying, like, okay, I understand if he's caught it and the ball was really like the ball wasn't even like.
God, the ball was loose. It was not a catch. He did not have possession. The end. I win. You lose. That's how the game went.
Nothing else needs to be said. Mikey,
hey, sir.
What? Maybe this is a homework assignment for the next show, but I mean, this has got to be one of the closest ones we've ever had. I mean, does it get closer than 4 points or 3, whatever?
Yeah. I would have to look through the history books, but yeah, it's got to be. I mean, I definitely know I've never seen an ending like that.
It was insane. Like it felt like they knew that we were in the playoff championship. Like that's how tense the entire game was that it went down that far. I mean, Anna and I were just like on the edges of our seat, just fucking cracking up. Like we were so nervous the entire time, just watching the thing go down. I have never been that nervous watching a non-Bronco playoff game. It was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, because it probably had to be. I mean,
well, we'll look that up. We'll talk about that on another. I mean, I'm quickly going through, and there was a 128 to 120 between CUP and NWA in 2021, but that's just the last few seasons. But maybe we'll get to it by the end of this season. But Mikey, does Todd get doe of the week? Kevin in the text message said that probably should be the doe of the year, not starting Jake Ferguson over Kyle Pitts. I think that's a little dramatic, but what are your thoughts?
Well, here's the reason I have to agree with Kevin.
Okay.
You guys warned him last week. You warned him.
I did. We've had this conversation going for years about trusting Kyle Pitts. Like it's the running joke on the podcast. Like he always disappoints every time you put faith in him. Then he's comes back to bite you. And Todd unfortunately had to learn the hard way that this is what happens, man. You put your faith in Kyle Pitts. You
Came
burn.
back to roost.
Yeah, but also too, I mean, I understand. Probably not putting. I shouldn't have put my faith in Kyle Pitts, but Stafford and if all Stafford and Puka had to do was, I mean, Stafford didn't have to throw 3 picks.
That's
Did
not the
fine.
question here.
I know, but
That we're talking
I'm just
about.
saying I wasn't worried about, to some degree. It was more about putting Kyle Pitts in there just for a little bit of like maybe just a smidge of insurance policy, just a little bit. But Puka and Stafford were the ones I needed to. I mean, Kyle Pitts wasn't going to win me the chance. I needed Stafford and Puka to be the MVP candidates they were in the regular season. Plain and simple. There, I can't say that. Well, I needed Kyle Pitts to win me a championship. Absolutely not. No, Puka and Stafford were the ones I needed to win me a championship. That's plain and simple right there. I can say that with gusto on that one, that Stafford and Puka have to be the ones that, if put it this way, if I was betting on Kyle Pitts, like, oh, I need Kyle Pitts. Like,
You were betting on Kyle Pitts.
That's why you
I
put him in the
was,
lineup.
but
It's a position on your team.
I understand.
Every point matters.
I agree.
As you and
I agree.
saw, every point matters.
I agree. But the way Puka and Stafford have been playing all season long, I was like, okay, this will just be, even with that 2 points, if again, I know they'll play the what ifs, can't play the what ifs in life, but I'm just saying, if Stafford didn't have his worst game and Puka, they got Puka more involved.
Andy nuts. We'd all have had a Merry Christmas.
I'm sorry.
Don't.
Well, Aaron, you're the champion. So
it's okay, Todd. I thought I was going to get it with Taysom Hill, so don't worry about it. You deserved it. Had things gone another way, I would have got it. We both up the tight end position this last week.
Tight ends are stupid. We should make a vote to just have.
Stop it.
Hey, listen here, Trey McBride boy.
Yeah, and he disappointed me last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever you want to call it. So it happens to all of us. So Aaron, we get to ask you your championship since you're the champion. Ask you about your season. Excuse me. Still getting over being sick myself. Being the champion, did you think you had a championship team at the draft, or did something change through the season that made you think you had a real good chance at it?
No, I thought I had a championship team at the draft. I went heavy on running backs because I kind of anticipated that's the way things were going to be. I thought my team was overlooked at the draft. I thought nobody was going to see me coming. That's certainly what I felt happened, is that I got up pretty quickly, pretty much averaged, I think, 150 points through the season. And I think probably in October, I was like, this team's capable of winning, barring injury. But the one thing I knew that I needed to figure out was the wide receiver position, especially once Tyreek Hill went down, because I was like streaming a lot of guys. It was like gaping hole. And I think what finally ended up working for me is when I plugged in Michael Wilson. And that sort of turned things around and sort of gave me the confidence going to the playoffs that I could actually pull it off. So, most of the year I felt like it was a championship comparable team. I just felt like I needed to figure out that wide receiver position, and I was lucky enough to pick up a guy on waivers that worked out. Because I was trying every single cog I could fit in that the little kind of gear stack, and none of them were working. But he finally hit on one once Marvin Harrison Jr. went down. So I think that was the key.
Agreed. You mentioned those 3 running backs. You had 3 running backs finish in the top 9 in running back. So to have Jonathan Taylor, who was an MVP candidate, Bijan Robinson, MVP candidate, and Kyron Williams, very steady in your flex position all year. I mean, it was really, I think any of us felt like when we went up against that, like, woof, that's a 3-headed monster that we had to deal with.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I
So
was happy it all worked out, and I was high on the Colts going in. I thought Daniel Jones was going to kind of open up that offense, kind of take the pressure off Taylor. That's what happened. They sort of faded towards the end, and that's when I got a little bit worried. Things got a little bit rough, but yeah, it worked out.
what else to say? I mean, to have this championship, the way it happened, I mean, you were pretty much, I mean, you were the highest scoring team all season long. You mentioned just those 2 times you lost, or 2 of those 3 times you lost, 2 were to Todd, and you got a little revenge and a little redemption in that regards. I mean, how does this rank in your seasons of fantasy football here in the Mile High Affiliates League?
In terms of the season, I think it's one of my more dominating regular season performances. In terms of the playoffs, I honestly think I got pretty lucky. I don't think I really, smashed anybody in the playoffs. I think I managed to be savvy enough to kind of construct a good enough team in the playoffs to kind of get through for just 2 games. So happy with the way this ended out. Happy to be the winner. Happy I got 5 championships
Count them five.
now. Count them all, one hand. Got to get one on that thumb. But yeah, I thought I had a great team all regular season, and I thought I just took some savvy moves to kind of get through to the end in the playoffs. But yeah, I'm
So,
happy with things. Obviously, happy with the way things worked out. Yeah.
who would you say is your MVP on your team this year? Is it the Bijan and what he's done and what
Oh,
he did in the final game, or was someone else the kind of a unsung hero, if you will?
you know, that's a hard question to answer because I think without Jonathan Taylor, I don't get that first seed, and perhaps I don't make it to the championship. But then obviously Bijan carried me over the top. So I wish there was like a 1A, 1B, because it'd definitely be those 2 guys. Because I think those are the 2 guys that kind of like brought the fear into the different opponents I had to play. So and then you can kind of give like a you know little sub award to Mahomes for coming through this year, and then Lawrence when it mattered the most. But yeah, it's a really tough one. I guess oof, really tough. Man, I guess I got to give it to Taylor just because he set the table for everything else to happen.
Yeah, I definitely think Mahomes, who, at one point, he was highly regarded, big fantasy guy, and he was obviously down, and we talked about it in the quarterbacks preview and just what he's been able to do the last couple of years. The offense wasn't as kicking as it was, and so he wasn't one of the top guys to get drafted, and you it fell to you, and you took the chance on him, and obviously he played off in wonders this year, and with the Kelsey combination was huge too, I thought. So I thought that was really big, but I can understand. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, big time for you as well. Anything else you want to say? Any last words about this season in general, or any last words from the champ? Not that we're kicking you off any reason, but we're
Oh
getting close,
no, it's all
we're getting
right.
close to the end.
It would have been so painful to lose to Todd 3 times in 1 year. Um, I told you guys in confidence that I wanted to just yell at him during this podcast and make him cry. When it became apparent that he was probably going to beat me, I was like, I'm gonna have to just shut up and crow because Todd's gonna whip my ass in this championship. But now that I'm here, I won it. The miracle happened. It is probably the most humbling championship I've ever won. So I am not going to tell Todd what a shithead he is. I'm going to tell Todd you had a very good team. It was probably better than mine. I hate you for making that Jamar Chase trade. Um, I also hate Allen for making that Jamar Chase trade,
Mm.
and that I am glad I beat the shit out of you. And I hope you cry when you're missing your draft pick next year. So
Mm.
yeah, it was
Well,
worth it.
it was worth it.
Well said, Aaron. Well said. Well
I love
said.
I
Well,
love you, Todd,
I
but I did
know.
not want to lose to you.
I know. I know. I mean, again, this is I knew, I thought too, is like, no, going into this matchup too. I mean, I had revenge on my play too. I mean that, before this, this championship game. I mean, yeah, the Nick Foles thing was still, I was like, oh man, this is my chance. Like, I think how my team is, and yeah, I mean, the Nick Foles one doesn't hurt as much anymore. It doesn't. I mean, this one's just gonna sting just because of how close it really was. I mean, Aaron, it was. I mean, just for a certain point during the game, I was like, it might just like Stafford just has his worst game, and it's just not meant to be, and figured it out. And I think at a certain point I went to Mike, I stood up and I put my hand on Mikey's shoulder. I said, Mikey, do I have what needs to happen right now in this, in this fourth quarter? What needs to happen? Like, do I have a shot? Just tell me, yeah, I mean, it was close. I mean, close as you can get. I mean,
let me answer that. Let me answer that.
Yeah.
So I went through every championship game, and it is the smallest margin of victory in our league. We had 2 games that were decided by 5 points. 2016, Supreme Clientele defeated the Tamales 155-150. And then it was 5 points with the Hot Tamales and you back in 2013.
Okay.
DeMarco Murray.
3.76 is now the margin, the smallest margin of victory.
3.76. Aaron, all I ask is you just don't get a T-shirt that says that, please. Okay.
No, I'm bringing a poster of Puka dropping that ball. I told you. You brought the with the Rubik's Cube. I'm bringing Puka dropping a ball so that everyone remembers and does not forget.
Fair enough.
Mikey, do you want to say any last things about this game or the season? I mean, we'll obviously talk a lot more about the season, but anything you want to say?
In general, just between the game that you and Todd had, Eric, and then the championship game between Aaron and Todd is 2 of the most crazy, entertaining playoff games I think I've ever seen. I wasn't in the playoffs, but being able to just sit back and watch those situations and those games was just amazing.
A
lot of craziness, a lot of screaming,
a lot of pacing, a lot of
I was
going to say, if I would have won, I would have said to use an analogy for my team. This was the pacing. This was the pacing team right here, pacing back and forth.
Pacing team. Well, here is the draft order for the 2026 season. Leading things off with the number 1 pick, the NWA, followed by Cooper's Cousins at number 2, Chad Powers Fan Club at number 3, the Belt Sanders at 4, Eaton W's at 5, Hot Tamales at 6, Notorious CUP at 7, Kilgore Trout at 8, Lemonheads at 9, number 10, Gonzo Cats, and then the last 2, 11, Butterfingers and Lion Rip at number 12. So there you have it. Coming to the end of this show. Next week's show, the award show. Talk about the MHA Most Valuable Player. Talk about the Bust of the Year. The T.Y. Hilton Award, of course. And on top of this, Most Surprising Player. And we have a bunch more, too. So always fun to kind of look back on the season as a whole. See who did well, who was terrible, who showed up, who didn't show up, and who may have surprised us. All that fun stuff next week. Any teasers you want to give me on that, Miguel?
You'll save it.
I'm going to save it all for next week?
Yeah.
Well, I sent you guys the list. You guys can go through, get it down to 3 candidates. We'll talk about those 3 candidates or whatever amount of candidates we come up with, and we'll pick those out, and then we'll talk about those most valuable players, the busts, the T.Y. Hiltons, most surprising players, and more on next week's show.
And maybe a new category, Rookie of the Year.
Todd is really excited about this Rookie of the Year. You know why? Because there's one of his players involved.
Yep, absolutely.
Loves his own players, doesn't he?
Yep, sure do.
Loves them. Well, Aaron, congratulations once again.
Congratulations,
Five-time champion.
No, Aaron, you have to say it this way. I got to put 5 on it.
No, you said it for me, so I'm going to let it roll out that way.
Okay.
Well, there you have it. Lion Rip 2025 champ. For Eric Lansing, Mikey Renault, Todd Diamond, and Aaron Renault. We'll see you next time on the MHA podcast.